This episode of Splain Yourself is brought to you by Sperry. Sperry's are boat shoes and whatnot. Visit Sperry.com and stuff. Welcome to Splain Yourself, the podcast that gives regular people a chance to explain their actions or beliefs. I'm Michael, and I put most of NY onto DKNY.
And I'm Sarah, and y'all already know I got that ditty bread. Today, y'all, we're going to talk about work as Zen. In other words, how the workplace can be a source of harmony in our otherwise unharmonious lives. And to shed some light on this topic through her own story, we've asked the amazing Jordan Jacobson to be our guest today. Jordan, thanks so much for being here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is really exciting because rarely do I get to interview people who make me feel bad about myself. But Jordan did that to me the other day.
No, what'd she do?
No, first Jordan harangued me about microwave hogging, which I do every day.
Every day.
And
With your gruel.
Yes, and is 10,000% correct for haranguing me and that I hogged the microwave. So both those are true.
However, I was wrong that day.
Oh, really?
It was my turn.
Yeah, well,
Nice.
I guess, get lucky once in a while. But I do hog the microwave. But we were discussing our daily routines, and Jordan said that she gets to work at 5:30 or 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I was flabbergasted.
No, that was in the pre-baby days.
In the pre-baby.
I'd get to work super early.
Okay, and then I was feeling bad for myself, because as you know, I get up early, but I can't get to work that early. And I was like, whew. After this, I talked to Jordan more, and I learned that this is basically her form of Zen. So we'll start here. Jordan, what does Zen mean to you?
So Zen for me, I guess, is something that calms me down, gives me a little bit of structure in my otherwise chaotic life, and is somewhere that I guess you could call it my happy place. And for me, strangely enough, I guess that's work.
Yes.
Wow.
Most folks see work and happy and calm as literally diametrically opposed.
Yeah, and I don't think I realized how I don't think I actually came to that conclusion until we had our conversation. So, talking to Michael, I realized that even in high school, I, in addition to AP and IB classes, I worked 2 jobs. So it goes back that far. Yeah.
Yes, and how do you think you developed this view? So it had to start somewhere. It didn't just magically appear in high school.
So my dad has always worked 2 jobs. He has his own business and he works for the city. So I guess it can kind of go back to that. And then my mom's just a crazy busy person, if she's working or not working or volunteering. But I think I realized pretty early on that the busier I am, the happier I am. I like to have, if I'm busy, I accomplish a lot more. I tend to get a lot more done if I have a lot of stuff going on in the day than if I have empty days of freedom. Well, that's not freedom to me.
Right.
Have you heard the old adage, if you want something done, give it to a busy person? I've heard that before.
Yes.
You're already in, list check off mode, so just give it to me. I got it. I'll add it to my list. Yeah.
And I mean, part of that's bad, right? One of my weaknesses is that I'm really bad at delegating. I tend to just do instead of asking for help. But yeah, so I would work at an attorney's office in high school.
Sure.
Go do some catering in the evening. So really, I was, if I wasn't playing sports, I was working from, 8 o'clock when the school day started until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, even in high school.
Wow.
Yes, and how do you manage to pull all this off and then graduate high school?
Well, so our senior day ended early, so I would skip out. I actually got in a lot of trouble in high school because I didn't want to be an editor for the newspaper. Instead, I wanted to work. So I was not the most popular senior, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that many people wanted you to be editor?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was just a shortage that year. Although I went to a giant high school with about 1,000 people in my class. But,
Wow.
Did that give you stress? Because here's me, people pleaser, wondering how you felt about it.
Because I'm a huge people pleaser.
Yeah.
So this is a vivid memory. I walked into the local sandwich shop in Aiken, and ran into my high school teacher right before right before the senior year started, and she, in front of the entire sandwich shop, read me the riot act about.
Really?
That's lame.
Yeah, about not being an editor for the newspaper, and that in the long run, being an editor would be better than having a job for an attorney. Since I didn't want to be an attorney at the time, I still don't.
Aw, she's just guilt tripping you.
Yeah, so as a teacher, I can kind of get it. I think sometimes we have what we think are priorities for our students. That might be our priorities more than theirs.
Yeah, that sounds like an agenda.
Very much
Okay,
so.
an agenda.
Very
Yeah,
much so.
yep. Another
Yeah.
name for it.
Yeah.
Yes. So, can you describe how work feels to you? For most people, this is an inordinate amount of sort of stress and chaos, but you sort of see it the opposite way. So, when you are busy in your day, how do you actually feel?
Yeah, so I think I kind of feed off of I get energy from the chaos and the crazy, which is strange because normally I would have identified myself as very much of an introvert. And I think most teachers get to create especially with the teaching profession, I guess that's my only experience, but we can create our own little area and environment, microclimate within our classroom. And here, not so much. Or it's a lot harder. And then even when we're not teaching, our desks are out in the middle of the chaos.
Yeah.
So I thought, I think there were a lot of people that thought I was going to hate this job. And it seems that it's been the exact opposite. I seem to have thrived in this environment. So I think for me, I get calm from chaos. I kind of am the opposite.
So did you grow up with chaos and craziness?
Oh, yes. I grew up in a loud, obnoxious, extremely loving and fun Italian family.
Okay.
And so I have a younger sister and a younger brother, but I have 3 cousins that basically grew up in our house too.
Wow.
And just a one story,
So that's-
like ranch house.
That's 6, 8 people in one
Yep.
abode constantly?
Basically, yeah. And I'm the oldest out of all the cousins.
Sure.
So I've always kind of been the mother hen in our family.
So this is really a fulfillment of a role you're already kind of...
I think so, yeah. And a
established.
role that I am, was happy to kind of fall into. So I kind of knew I always wanted to do something with science. And then teaching came about because I didn't want to go to med school.
Right.
I was basically pre-med. So I think that the people pleasing and trying to help has always been like, that's
Sure.
what I need to do. I need to be around people. And everybody who knows me says that I think the other part of the Zen is being around all the people and
Right.
having like constant interaction. Because it's always been a joke in my household that my husband would be the one to stay home with the kids, not me.
Right.
Never. Like the idea terrifies me, staying home.
To just be home.
I was not a good person on maternity leave.
No, that doesn't sound like it'd be fun for you at all.
Yeah. And at one point I had to take medical leave.
Right, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I had to take medical leave a couple years ago and to go to do for medical reasons, for migraines and to get testing done.
Yeah.
And I was more stressed on medical leave than I was
Wow.
teaching. Yep.
So what caused you stress? Because besides the physical, problems.
Because, I think it's, FOMO. I was afraid I was missing what was going on at school. And then I didn't know what to do with my day at home. Even like once the house was clean and organized, I was like, okay, now what? So I'm not good at resting. I guess Zen for me is not resting, although I say that and I'll be the first one to binge watch Netflix. But I'm usually playing with Ethan and doing 5 other things at the same time.
Right.
So...
Okay, Sarah, what is Zen for you?
Netflix.
Netflix.
No, not really. I mean, it could be. I do like to detach and unplug, and I'm okay with being at home for longer stretches of time, I think. But
you do podcasts.
I do, yeah,
podcasts.
absolutely.
That's right.
That's a way to fill my time. Yeah, I do some meditations like with devotional type things, and that's really good for me. But I'm an extrovert, and so being by myself is not very zen for me. So I do get stir crazy if I take a sick day, or like summers are tough for me because Jerry has to work, obviously. So I have to find ways to fill a lot of the days. My family's all in town though, so I hang out with them. But yeah, I think my checkout mode is definitely being with friends, just doing things that we enjoy, and that could be watching Netflix. It could be being out, having a beer.
Sure.
but nothing where it's like I have to have planned something or we're on a schedule. No. It'd be like your vacation over Christmas, which we don't have to talk about.
Yes. I had a very scheduled Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Oh, that's right. It was Thanksgiving.
Yes.
But what's your Zen, Michael?
For me, so I think I find Zen in the unlikeliest of places, which is being strangled every morning, starting at 6:30.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu is Zen not because it is peaceful or calm, and it actually playing this game of am I going to pass out? Like how long can I fight this before I pass out? Is not at all peaceful.
No.
To me, what Zen is the idea of you are a busy person who is focused on one thing entirely. Right? So you are able to block out everything else and concentrate on what you're doing, which in my case is figuring out if I have to tap out at this point, I can fight this guy's hands until he puts me out. So this is a weird way to think about it and to do it, but this is generally what I think Zen is.
Yeah.
People who meditate like yourself often try to achieve no mind, right? Where your mind is blank, which is a worthy goal, but is a different kind of idea, I think, in that you are really working to control your thoughts.
Yeah, and I would say I don't try the traditional meditation where I'm trying to empty my head.
Right.
We practiced that once in high school. I think we were reading Siddhartha, and our teacher was like, try to think about nothing, and of course none of us could do it. But we were teenagers, So my idea is more like what you were describing, where you focus on the one thing. And my brother and I have talked about this lately because there's all this cool research coming out about meditation and how mindfulness, like taking things that are stressing you or upsetting you and trying to kind of separate that out and look at it objectively. I don't know all the tricks, so there's still a lot of research I need to do. But with work being Zen, I can see how, if you're really into your job, which we are here, and Jordan especially, you've been here longer than Michael and I have both, so you've seen it from the inception. You've seen like Next kind of grow into what it is now. So I can see how being here, especially at this particular job, would be a way for you to block out all of the negative in your life.
Yeah, and I never really thought about it that way, but it really, I think, being here, you have to you have to be completely present in what's going on in front of you or in the entire school.
Yeah.
But it's a place where you really can block out the other because you have to.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree with that, 100%.
Jordan, do you think you could ever achieve a blank mind, or does that sound horrible to you?
I've tried.
Okay, how's that work?
I was really into hot yoga for a while. I tend to be an extremist. I can't just do something.
Jordan and I are going to form our own podcast called Hot Yoga.
Hot yoga. Oh man, it's awesome. But and I think I got as close as I've ever gotten in that. But it was like focusing on the pain and the sweat, and then I kind of got there.
Wow.
You say like people I've been, Josh and I are doing this half marathon in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. So they say you running, you get the runner's high, and then you can just go forever.
Yeah.
I kind of, that to me, like that's the only way like I can kind of understand that type of mind is like you get there and then you just can like coast.
Right.
And so I can, and I still run, and I think that's even my other Zen is I love kickboxing. So very similar, but I like it because the gym I go to, very much like CrossFit, it sets your workout. So I go in there and I don't have to think.
Sure.
I just hit the bag. That's my thought.
I need to get into that.
Oh, it's some good stress relief.
I want to hit a bag.
So after you've been here all day, focus on not hitting things.
Right.
You get to get it out there. But yeah, the no mind thing, I have a hard time I can't grasp the concept.
Yeah. How do you empty your head? I don't understand either. Wow.
It sounds delightful.
Yeah.
If I could be running at the same time.
And you can, I think.
I think you can.
So you worked at a school, another school prior to that.
Yes.
Do you feel like work was your Zen at that job?
It was different for sure. It was a much more traditional school with tradition. I had my classroom, I had my space. And towards the end, and I think that's part of the reason that I was ready for a new adventure. When I don't feel supported and I don't feel encouraged, I can lose that very, very quickly.
Sure.
And I think that's even when some of my personal relationships or other adventures have ended, is when I don't feel the support or the confidence is kind of gone. So I think being here and having the support of the other faculty, the kids, hit or miss with administration. Just kidding. but really, I mean, I feel like the support here is definitely a lot different. And I mean, I used to work with my husband, so you would
That's
think,
true.
it was definitely a different atmosphere, and he is doing much better now that I'm gone. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
Were you disrupting his zen?
Well, my classroom was above his,
Right.
So my kids might have just been loud and disrupting his zen. Maybe the other classroom is much more calm.
I see.
But my calm is, he would walk into my classroom and just observe the controlled chaos.
Is the difference between your approach to the two schools or your view of them, a lot of it, is it have to do with your level of ownership? Like, since you've been here from the beginning, you are one of the staples of the community.
Founding member.
I am a founding, Boy, that's weird. And I think, I always like to joke that with our project-based model, the I3, the impact-based learning process, I opened my big mouth when two other, Nathan and Jeremy, were working on it, and I was like, that's not going to work, and I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know what prompted me to speak up like that, because that's not a typical me thing, but I was kind of joking and kind of serious, and once we all started working together, I realized that that's the way I'd been trying to teach without putting a name to it.
Sure.
And coming here and having the flexibility to be different has been something that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I taught IB class, International Baccalaureate. You very much have to teach.
That's high pressure.
It's high pressure, and I've missed. This is the first year I've been back in teaching. It's only been 3 years. So last year I didn't teach at all, and this year teaching again has really, I think, renewed some of my energy for being around the kids. I've missed the classroom.
Absolutely.
Well, I missed being in front of kids and teaching them a subject. We don't have classrooms.
Right.
There you go.
In a staging area. The year you didn't have to teach.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Were you less busy, less zen, more zen?
Yeah, I think I felt less zen as far as work is concerned, and it probably was because the majority of my day was unstructured. I had various meetings and things to do, but I'm doing basically what I did last year plus teaching 2 classes this year. And I don't feel that much more. I don't feel like I'm doing that much more work.
I think I understand where that's coming from. I was an instructional coach for a couple of years, and those years were weird for me and I was really excited about being out of the classroom until you get there and you're like, okay, what do I do if nobody's telling me exactly what I have to do right now? And finding, ways to fill time that you're not really sure, like, okay, I've done all of my meetings for today and now I gotta, So I can see how maybe you teaching and still having what you had to do last year, it's almost like, well, I only have this block of time to do that in.
Yeah,
so that's when I do it, right?
You have to break it out, you have to get it done. Or, and this year I've done I think, in my opinion anyway, I've done a better job of actually doing the delegating and saying, okay.
I'm going to force you to delegate.
Even to the students, like I have a group working on market day for me so that
beautiful.
I don't have to be that person.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing. It's forced me to kind of address those areas that I'm a little bit weaker in, or a bit weaker in. But this year I definitely feel this. I feel calmer. I feel more zen, and I think that next year, whether it's teaching one or 2 classes, I don't want to be completely removed from the classroom.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I've learned from being out of the classroom is that part of my zen and fulfillment in life is being with students in an instructor type way.
Yeah.
And I was a coach for many years too. So,
right.
I like that interaction and that kind of getting to know students for an extended period of time.
Sure. Would it make you more zen to impose your own structure on yourself? Would this work better for you, or do you like it? It seems to me you like it when structure is imposed upon you.
Yeah, I think I like when I have a framework.
Okay.
And then I can chunk the frame how I want it to be.
Sure.
So, so I'm in a block of class in the morning, but then I have another block where I can get stuff done. But it gives me more, I have smaller blocks. I guess the best thing is I don't do well with a giant block of time.
Right.
But when somebody says, you have this block, and this block,
Yeah.
and then you can fit your pieces in, I'm good. I like puzzles. Maybe that's it.
That's fair.
I like rearranging the day so that it works.
So the problem with your structure is you also have young kids. And I'm going to guess they don't comply to your scheduling demands.
No,
because
you
they
mean
don't...
the students here?
No.
Or
Ethan.
Talk about Ethan.
My little
Yeah.
2-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's not little, he's a giant child. Yeah, so he, and I think that's been, and it's strangely enough, the first day of our work weekend back in the day, now still at Christ Church, the other school, I'm still working, and I found out I was pregnant the day of the weekend.
Wow.
So my whole adventure here has also been getting used to the idea of a growing family and the wrenches that throws in the daily schedule. So and I was scared. I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to handle being pregnant and then a new mom with a brand new job. Just to say that the pregnancy wasn't completely planned is definitely is that we were going to wait. Once I got the job, we were just going to wait a little while. Well,
here in the South, we call that a blessing.
Yeah. and I honestly, I don't think it could have worked out better. I mean, it was like I had more to do, so I had to focus.
Sure.
You know, I was very, very sick when I was pregnant, but I just had to do it. I had to get through. There were certain things I had to do.
Sure.
And then now with Ethan being a 2-year-old, I think it actually gives me more structure without purposely doing it, because
How does he do that?
Because he wakes up I have to be at home at 6, so if I'm going to do my exercising, I have to be home at 6.
Oh, that's what you're saying. So
6:15, he gets to school, I get here, and then I can go home, or I try to get him by 4:30. So my afternoons are chunked again, and then I'm with Ethan until he goes to sleep, and then I can get back to doing work if it needs to get done. So that's my typical days. I'm at the gym by 4:45, 5. I'm home by around 6. Here by 7:45, ideally, which is late for me. That kind of freaks me out.
Well, you've already been up for 3 hours and
Yeah.
workout and
So,
12 other things.
And that's not every day. I mean, there are definitely days where I sleep in and skip the ideal workout. This is an ideal day. This is an ideal day. And then with Ethan before 4:30, and then sometimes I can sneak in the gym between school and Ethan.
Sure.
And then home to be mom, and then catching up on school stuff if I have to at night. But I've gotten good. There are very few nights that I have to crack open the computer after he goes to bed.
Well, that's good.
So that's mat time.
And what's
That's
your bed time?
10:30, 11.
What the?
And you're waking up at 4 what?
Yeah, 4:40, 4:15, 4:30. Yeah, when you mention it that way, I'm like, no wonder I'm fighting this whatever crud in my head right now.
So you get about 6.5 hours of sleep and do a billion things every day. You have to, at some point, just crash super
out.
hard.
Well, and I do. So I have migraines every day. Whether they start in the morning or they start at 3 o'clock. It's a good day today because it hasn't hit yet.
Sure.
And so I think part of my way of dealing with chronic pain is that I go and I go and I go. Because at one point I decided that I could lay in bed all day long, or I could get up and have a life. And some days it's a lot harder than others. And there are some days where I take a day and I have to stay home and I don't get out of bed. Or, then there's my husband's wonderful. There are days where I get home and I have to go, lay down for an hour or get in bed for a little bit. But I think the best way that I have to deal with my migraines now until I figure out another method is I just go.
Yeah.
I just attack it.
Wow.
Now I'm
And it
back to
does
getting
knock me on the
better.
butt. And sometimes I am in bed all weekend, but
Yes. And are weekends, because there's less structure for you, are they not as enjoyable?
they are actually very enjoyable. And that's work is my zen, but I think my son is the most zen
Right.
for me. So anytime I'm with him is wonderful. And even the temper tantrums and the
Being two
and running around and yelling. But that now I couldn't stay home and do it all day.
Right.
I'm the first to admit
Right.
that. But the weekend days to be a family and to be outside and play are like recharge. So I know that maybe that is my zen, but being at school is also. I couldn't do that every day. That's why it's a weird balance, I guess. And I guess that's what it is finding the balance.
Absolutely.
How does your husband deal with you being so go all the time?
He is very calm and he is very laid back, and we're opposites. I think that's how he deals with it. He's an English teacher. And we've always laughed because you've got the humanities and science, mixing. But he is much calmer. He calms me down a lot, and the Energizer Bunny level can go down when I'm at home a little bit.
Right.
But he likes to do a lot of things I don't like to do. He loves to cook. I hate to cook, so that's my time with playing and hanging out with our son, and he's cooking and doing things. So yeah, I don't know how he puts up with me on a daily basis, but somehow, it works.
That thing they call love.
Yeah,
That's gotta be.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to be a super type A person, you need a type B person.
you need
Two
somebody.
A's together sounds like a
That's
recipe
that's disaster.
for a tire fire.
Absolutely.
Tire fire.
That's good.
Your parents are real type A as well? Like this comes to you?
Yeah, my dad has a lot. We always joke that he's probably, probably has ADHD that's never been diagnosed. He cannot sit still. He just is go, go, go. He's also he's not, his zen is being outside.
Right.
So you stick my dad inside and he can handle it for, just like anybody else for a certain amount of time. And my mom, so my grandmother was very much not present.
Right.
She was there. She was just doing other things. So my mom raised her 3 younger siblings for the most part.
Okay.
And she still won't believe me, but I think I'm treated very differently than my siblings are treated. And it's because of that, expectation to be the provider and the
Mother
So
hen.
you were
be the
firstborn,
mother. I'm the firstborn.
and your mom was firstborn.
Yeah. And my husband, strangely enough, is also the firstborn.
Oh wow.
So you get a lot of firstborns, and obviously my son's the only one.
Right.
So
Right.
he's definitely the firstborn too. But so they always have said, they don't know where we being my siblings, the ambition and wanting to do more. My mom didn't finish college. My dad did, but has always been very comfortable with what he's doing. And my mom has always said that she didn't do well in high school, so she doesn't she jokes that she doesn't know where we get it from. But in my opinion, they're both extremely successful, just in different areas.
Sure.
They might not
Right.
see it that way, but they are.
Absolutely.
And my sister right now, she's a packaging engineer and works in Detroit for Volkswagen. So she's crazy busy, flying all over the country and to Mexico all the time. And my brother is getting a degree in animation, basically, from Clemson. He's doing a lot of design work.
Cool.
So all kind of the same with the science. He also took a lot of science courses. But I feel like we all have the busy bee syndrome.
Yeah.
Except for my brother. He is the most laid back person I think I've ever met.
Sure.
Is he the baby?
He's the baby. He's the baby.
My brother is the baby in our family, and he's that way too.
He just takes it. He observes.
Yeah.
Just lets everything.
Right.
He did write, and I just found this out this weekend when I was visiting with my sister and my mom, that there was a letter. Thanksgiving. He was thankful that my sister didn't draw blood that week.
Oh.
So that's a glimpse into growing up. My sister and my brother were best friends, but they fought.
Clash.
They were they tumbled about a good bit, but they were always going. And I think we didn't grow up, and this makes me sound old, and I really don't feel this old, but on the weekends and after school, we were pushed outside and forced to do stuff.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that was me too.
No TV, we were allowed to watch TV, but it was, weekends and summers we were forced outside.
Right.
And part of me thinks that I created my structure then, and I had to find stuff to do.
Sure.
So it's manifested itself in different ways as as I've gotten older and can't play cars outside all day. Not cars, I was the teacher.
Of course you
Teacher
were.
of
We
cars.
had a really good system
course
of
you
mail too, because I like to do letters.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a good mail. I mean, it would go for weeks.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
And then my sister remembers, both of them getting sent to timeout in the rooms right across and chunking things at each other.
Sure.
So
Right.
their chaos is very different from my controlled chaos.
Wow. That's awesome.
But yeah, so I definitely think my parents had a huge. They don't think they did, but they they have a huge influence on always like staying busy and working.
Sure. Maybe that's just humility. Like they wouldn't say they had a big influence, but
yeah, they providing and making sure that we had as much as we could to be comfortable, I think was a priority for my mom, and that's why my dad worked 2 jobs. And as an adult now, I think I appreciate it more. And every year I appreciate it more that he worked 2 jobs. The whole time when we were growing up. So it was present.
So let's end with this. The idea that in May, or I guess right beginning of June, once graduation is done right, you're going to have at least a few weeks of just nothing. So what do you do with that, and how do you stay zen?
Yeah, I've got to find a project. I can't just not do it. Yeah, I'm like, what am I going to do this summer? I've already, I'm like, I want to like completely like clean the house. Yeah, it's like
you'll have to map it out.
I have to map it out.
I hear you.
I have to have I'll still have my calendar and have like what I'm doing these days. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like to leave all that blank.
that is intense.
Nothing.
Yes. All right. Well, Jordan, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for coming in and explaining yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. This was great. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at Splain_yourself for updates and other content. We'll be back soon with another episode. But in the meantime, fly casual and always be ready to splain yourself.